Okay.
Greetings and salutations and all kinds of just good stuff I want to throw out to you, my friends. And I always look forward to our time together. And I look forward to what comes out of me during these sessions. And it's kind of like spirit in action. And what I like about it is it's very spontaneous, and yet it's good stuff. And good stuff comes out of you, and I'm sure you appreciate it. So maybe you can understand how I feel amazed when this good stuff comes out of me. And I don't have to prepare that much or practice. I try and look at the material before we get together, but I'm convinced that a large part of that is simply because I spent so many years where reading A Course in Miracles was a part of my daily life.
Hmm.
And what I found out is that I miss it. I mean, it got to the point where I really didn't feel like I needed to go through the course like chapter by chapter and workbook lesson by workbook lesson anymore. And I still don't. But now I just like to read the material because I like to be engaged with it. It was such a habit for me for all these years. And so I just find it a treat to spend some time preparing for these Zoom meetings, ACIM Talks, which is what we're doing. I guess I should say, welcome to tonight's ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim. It is Monday, the last day of March, March 31st. And so I'm glad you could all be here. My goodness, we probably spent about 15 minutes already just talking to one another and forgot to hit the record button. So we are official, and tonight we are back in our study, our book study of Unity and A Course in Miracles. And so before I walked off again, um, let's just try and get in the mood for that. We are halfway through this book study. There are 12 chapters, and we have made it to chapter 6. And the subject of chapter 6 is specialness. It started on page 71, if you want to follow along with me. And I think altogether there's something like maybe 11 subsections. Subsection 1 being the introduction to this chapter. You see that on 71, right? And then the next section on 72 is All My Brothers Are Special. And Unity had a little something to say there. But do you remember last time we talked about this? We mentioned that Unity doesn't have nearly as much to say about specialness as A Course in Miracles does. And our Unity teacher here, Miss Hughes, told us how Unity sees specialness. Do you remember that, Laverne, as compared to the Course in Miracles emphasis?
Can't
Not the,
remember exactly what I said.
okay, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Mhm.
Laverne said Unity sees specialness as the specialness we achieve by being Christ conscious
Right.
or
Mhm.
awakened in the Christ consciousness.
Right. It's
So, in
right. It's recognizing our divine potential and connection
yes,
with God. Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
Whereas A Course in Miracles speaks to specialness in terms of something we need to let go on a daily basis. So, specialness is being able to see ourselves as level one beings, whereas A Course in Miracles addresses it as the need to get rid of specialness as a level two activity. How's that?
Yeah. It
Great.
has different meanings for the word.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. And so I remember in the book it said, so a lot of times you won't see a unity commentary on the various topics we're going to go through. And so now I'm looking at page 74. There was a section called Dreams of Specialness. And that was all A Course in Miracles. There were no unity quotes there, you see. And then section 4, the unholy instant. And there is one excerpt from Unity speaking to the unholy instant. But now that we're getting in the mood here, do any of you remember what the unholy instant was?
from
The be-
unity, no.
beginning of the separation from from who and what.
Yay! Okay. Here, let me read it. The unholy instant is the starting point of separation and egos giving rise to special relationships housing the mad idea of separation in physical bodies.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it says a little later, well, let me read a little more. The instant that the mad idea of making your relationship with God unholy or special seemed to be possible, all of your relationships were made meaningless. In that unholy instant, a lot of stuff happened. It was catastrophic in its effect. It says, in that unholy instant, time was born and bodies made to house the mad idea and give it the illusion of reality. Now, all of the scientists say the Big Bang, y'all know about the Big Bang, right? That created our universe. They say they measure it about 14 billion years ago, was the start of our universe. A Course in Miracles doesn't say the Big Bang was the start of our universe. It was, but what is A Course in Miracles say the Big Bang was? The unholy instant. I'm giving you the answer back. What do you think?
Yeah.
In biblical terms, it's called the fall of man.
Mhm.
The instant where we had the tiny mad idea that we could be individuals and separate from one another. It was like catastrophic, like kaboom, changed everything, or so we thought it did. So the Big Bang is not as great a thing from a Course in Miracles perspective. The Big Bang was not the work of the creator. The Big Bang was the tiny mad idea. It's the thing that blew us into La La Land, the land of bodies and individuals and differences and separate, independent universes. It was smashing oneness. How are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
It was consciousness.
Mhm.
Individual consciousness, not divine mind. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality that separate minds could exist that were independent of the divine mind.
So is there consciousness in the one mind? If there's oneness?
All consciousness is in divine mind. The idea of separate consciousnesses is an illusion. You cannot have your own separate heaven. You cannot be your own separate universe. You cannot be independent of your brothers and sisters. What do you think, Dee?
I'm still not, I know you can't have your independent one, but I'm like when Laverne said it was the beginning of consciousness, I'm curious what she meant, but are you
Well, it said that, I think that was in chapter 2 in the
Right.
Course in Miracles. It said consciousness was the beginning of the separation.
right? So is there no consciousness in God? That's kind of what I'm asking then.
No,
Yeah.
no.
In
There's
oneness,
no consciousness apart from God.
yeah. In oneness, there's only one consciousness. So there's no separation in thinking.
And what I'm asking is if in oneness, right, there's not
Mhm.
two, so how could
Right.
there be consciousness? What would you be conscious of?
You're okay. It's like for me, I'll describe it's like being there, but you don't have to be there because you're already there, so you don't have to think. You just are.
Right, and that's
Mhm.
not even consciousness, is it?
Well, it depends
That's what
upon.
I'm wondering.
Yes,
if
that is consciousness, because if there was not the one consciousness, then there would be nothing. I mean, absolutely, you would be in the abyss.
And so we are,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't believe that we are.
Mm-hmm.
We have this voice in our head that constantly tells us that we can achieve separate consciousness.
So my question still is, so what is there to be conscious of if there's oneness? There isn't any other. There's not. What is there to be conscious of?
We are to be
Love.
conscious
What?
of the dictates of our divine mind.
Yeah.
That is our reality. Laverne, you had a
No,
comment?
I was just going to say consciousness of love. That's, God is love and love is God. They're
Okay.
synonymous of consciousness of love.
And
That's,
that
that's,
is the milieu.
mm,
Last time we used a word called the ether.
Mhm.
Remember, Charles Fillmore talked
Mhm.
about the Garden of Eden, or this is
Jeff,
page
FaceTime video.
75. The Garden of Eden or paradise of God is in the ether.
sure.
The ether, the fifth element, or the substance that fills the universe.
Yeah, the word I like is the essence.
Wonderful. Okay. And so that is where all consciousness operates. It does not operate in individual consciousness. But the tiny mad idea was so appealing, so tempting, so audacious. Sound familiar?
Um,
Starts with an E.
yeah, and I don't think it's in the past. I think it's ongoing currently.
Okay. So I totally agree, and that's insightful when you consider there is no past.
Uh-huh.
It's just an ongoing refusal to give in to the truth.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, who would be so audacious as to not give in to the truth, even if it's true? Starts with a E.
Ego.
Mhm.
Ego.
Okay. It was an audacious idea, the tiny mad idea. It was ludicrous. Into eternity, where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. If you look at it from the right perspective, you could only laugh.
But isn't our problem that we believe that now too? Not like you said, there is no past. So I mean, the problem is that we're that's what we live by now. That's what we believe is true right now.
Yeah.
Because if it was just in the past would be over. The problem is that I'm living it now or reliving it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, why am I living it now? Because I identify with the ego.
Uh-huh.
I'm still trying to make what is impossible possible.
Yep.
Is that insane?
Yep.
Do you see why the Course uses the word insanity so often?
So does the 12-step program.
Yeah.
One of
I
the
mean,
steps is that came to, I'm not going to say it exactly right, came to realize that came to realize I could be restored to sanity, which means I'm insane.
there's 12 steps, right?
Yeah.
Yes, restored to
Yeah.
sanity.
I remember the day it dawned on me that's saying I'm insane.
Yeah.
Like,
And as incredible as it sounds, again, Sadhguru says all the inmates in the insane asylum think the doctor's crazy.
yep.
So I don't blame you for feeling that way, but I still want to coax you over to your reality so you can come out of la la land. for all of its wonderful adventures in La La Land, aren't you kind of getting like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz and you just want to go back home because something's not right here? Lesson 182, let me be still an instant and go home. Y'all remember that lesson? Isn't that kind of the nagging thing in us that something's not right here? Things don't make sense here. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just being honest, and I appreciate your honesty. So that's why we're on these journeys looking for an answer, right? And as incredible as these answers are, we've stuck with it to the point that I know it sounds crazy, but that stuff is starting to ring true. This may be the answers. So I'm just going to put my pride aside, my logic aside, and just hear this thing on out. Isn't that what we've committed to do?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that what the criteria is? That you, despite its apparent craziness, just have a little willingness, and I'll show you what happened, how it works. And you'll start going, that makes sense. Isn't that where we are? No?
Yeah, what's interesting to me is so many people that don't get this call what we're studying La La Land.
Precisely. Which is exactly what you'd expect them to do, because there was a time when you thought it was crazy, but something in you said, read some more, study some more.
Yes.
Be open. And look at where we are now. Crazy as crazy can be, which is exactly what you'd expect the other inmates to say about you.
Mm-hmm.
So with your help, we've walked ourselves up to our reading tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're tonight on page 76, and it's called Specialness as a Strategy of the Ego. So let's get our readers together and see what we can cover tonight. Laverne is reader 1, and Dee is 2, Ron is 3, Kathleen 4, Joan, would you be 5? And Carolyn, reader 6, please. And let's talk some more about specialness. And
Okay.
just get started here. Yeah.
All right. Specialness as a strategy of the ego. In the text of A Course in Miracles, chapter 24 focuses on specialness. Specialness is a strategy of the ego. The ego wishes to be special. Originally, it wished for special love from God, which God could not give. The ego therefore seeks special love from other people as a substitute for the special love it did not get from God.
Why don't you finish that, Laverne, please?
Special love is a substitute for divine love, for which is for all. Specialness is used to perpetuate the belief in separation. In specialness, our use of ego based judgment becomes more important than the Holy Spirit's answers. It is based on comparisons, requiring judgment to make some things special and other things not. In specialness, some things and or people are wanted while others are not. Some are included while others are excluded. Some are good, others are bad. Some are important, others are not. And to the ego, what makes something or someone good and important is that it contributes to the ego's hope for specialness, a sense of rightness or of being right.
Thank you. Your comments on the first paragraph may as well start at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know this backstory that's being described in paragraph 1?
Mm-hmm.
How the separation came about? I didn't know that.
Well, that's the course's story of how it came about, basically.
Okay. And it says the ego wishes to be special. Originally, it wished for special love from God. Did you know that in terms of how this all came about? Or
Well,
is that how the course
Mhm.
describes it in chapter 24?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay.
I can see it as the ego wanting, special recognition from God, which I guess is the same thing. Love, special recognition. Look, it's me. No, we're one. I can't look.
Okay.
I
All
can't
right.
look.
So where did it go from there when it did not receive the special love from God? What did it do instead?
Sought it from others.
Okay, yeah, it says the ego therefore seeks special love from other people as a substitute for God's love. How about paragraph 2? What do you see there? What comments do you have? Or does it make sense? You good?
Well, yes, special love is a substitute for divine love, which is for all. And so I'm thinking special love is a substitute for you think you're lacking something. So you think you're lacking divine love, or you think you're lacking something, so you need something else, somebody else to fill that gap
You
to
know,
make.
why can't you receive divine love? Just so I'm clear.
Well, I already am divine love. So I guess to think that I'm
Yeah, but
separate from,
you didn't
you know.
want divine love, which is for all.
Hmm.
Right.
You wanted something extra.
We wanted differences, and there is no difference in love in real
Okay,
life.
like you said, yeah, when we were on paragraph 1, I'm sorry that can't happen. So instead of taking no for an answer and enjoying it, you still wanted to figure out a way to satisfy what could not be satisfied, specialness.
Mm-hmm.
So what came in,
So go ahead.
I was
Okay.
going to say, to me, what came into the word that's coming to me is lack. That
Right,
what came into effect is that we believe we're lacking love. So
right,
we're looking for something outside of ourselves to make us feel loved, when in reality we already are loved.
right. Exactly. That's how
Is
Well,
I
I
see
that
think
it.
it's more that we don't know what love is because we were offered love and we wanted it to be different for everybody.
so?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, dear. Go ahead. Was
So
there?
it's that we don't know what love is. If we've turned
And
it away, what it really is, we've turned away. So now we have all these substitutes which can't fulfill us because they're not real love,
Right.
divine love.
So, right. And so it gets us back to lack. We're lacking that real love. We have all this other stuff, but it's not the real love of God that all these substitutes. So we're lacking. So we still trying to find something that we think we lack, that we already have, that we already are.
okay, we think we don't know what love is, but here's the audacious part. We believe we can have something more than all, that we can just be a little above. As a matter of fact, I know I can do it because, as it says at the end in parenthesis, well, let me read the last sentence. And to the ego, what makes something or someone good and important is that it contributes to the ego's hope for specialness. It would rather be right than happy. Are you following me with the parenthetical at the
Yeah.
end? Above all else, it wants to be right at the expense of everything?
Mhm.
That's insane.
Mhm.
But at least it's consistent. More comments there. For our next reader, we're up to D and talk about A Course in Miracles comments here, please.
Comparison must be an ego device, for love makes none. Specialness always makes comparisons. Specialness is the function that you gave yourself. It stands for you alone, as self created, self maintained, in need of nothing, and unjoined with anything beyond the body. In its eyes, you are a separate universe with all the power to hold itself complete within itself, with every entry shut against intrusion and every window barred against the light.
Why don't you do the whole rest of that section? Okay.
Specialness is a lack of trust in anyone except yourself. Faith is invested in yourself alone. Everything else becomes your enemy, feared and attacked, deadly and dangerous, hated and worthy only of destruction. Whatever gentleness it offers is but deception, but its hate is real. But what is different calls for judgment, and this must come from someone better, someone incapable of being like what he condemns above it, sinless by comparison with it. For specialness not only sets apart, but serves as grounds from which attack on those whom seem beneath the special one is natural and just. The special one feels weak and frail because of differences, for what would make them special is their enemy.
Well, let's go back. Let's just do it in order. Back, the first thing you read, D, comparison must be an ego device, for love makes none. Take a look at those paragraphs, my friends, and tell me what stands out, something you'd like to talk about or reiterate.
Well, I think that first sentence says it all because when there's equality, equalness, sameness, there is no comparison.
If it's all the same, where would you find differences?
Right. There's nothing to compare.
Or let me say, where would you find differences that have significance?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll do a few. Okay. You're red and I'm blue. So
Mm-hmm.
you're hot and I'm cold. You're on the left of the light spectrum and I'm on the right of the light spectrum. What is it the same about us? What is the foundation, the significant thing about us is that we're parts of the light spectrum. Who the hell cares whether you're red or blue? What are those three colors to make pixels? Is it red, blue, green? We all make beautiful. So why would you set up a issue about how you made beautiful versus how I made beautiful? We're all the same in that our function is to make beautiful. Isn't that what love would do? What else would love do?
Not judge.
Yeah.
But as a function of love, what would love do? Make beautiful,
Yeah.
make happy, make joyous, and all that, those sorts of things. It's only about one thing.
Yeah.
And that's what all of us, that is our function to participate in. We are enemies in that scenario.
None.
Then why do we have so many?
Because we don't want to be the same.
And it's not that you don't want to be the same, Dee. It's that you got two voices in your head. Remember the chart? And one of them is crazy. Which one do you listen to? And it can't be a part-time job because they're telling you exactly opposite things. You can't serve two masters when they're telling you exactly opposite things. The only solution is to stop listening to one of them and commit to the one you choose. But one of them's crazy. You got two. One of them is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and loving. And the other one is antithetical to all of those. It wants only what you want. And you can't have that. Why? Because you didn't create yourself. Sherilyn, you are so quiet. Comments from you.
I'm listening and I'm trying to follow the things you're saying and understand. I understand basically, but I just need to think it over
Think
more,
about it.
reread it. Yeah, yeah.
Look at the pros and cons.
No, just make sure that I'm understanding them.
All right. Do what the process, do the process that you're comfortable with. But I want to show you, we all do it, is that this is not complicated,
No.
but I understand how we want to check in with the other voice too. We've had it so long. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I totally understand that. But as an example, and not to use Sherilyn, I think we all do this, but it could be that the check-in that we're doing is the very impediment that we're talking about.
Right.
Pros and cons
Well,
are opposites. Kathleen?
sometimes I think in our speaking and trying to understand it, we make it more and more complicated because it's so simple that with our words, and that's why a lot of times I say, for me, it's going beyond the words because the words complicate what is complicating what I know is.
Okay. Believe it or not, words are separation devices.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry, let me bring out Yoda. Either do or do not would be the expeditious road. Yes? Shortest distance between 2 points, a straight line. But I ain't mad at nobody if you got to do like this on the way.
Yeah.
We're used to it. That is the ego discussion that's going on about it. And I'm not picking on you, Cheryl, and I hope you're not taking it that way.
No, no.
But I am
No.
using you as a very normal example of how we process information. We are, anything else in that section? The third paragraph on page 76, down at the bottom where Dee was reading, I think I put that at the top of your agenda. Specialness is a lack of trust in anyone except yourself. Faith is invested in you alone. Everything else besides what's invested in you alone becomes your enemy. But there's a consequences to having enemies. What is that? What is the undesirable consequence of having enemies?
We stay separate.
We punish them.
We don't trust them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, and why don't we trust them? Because they're different. They're not like us. And so we can feel justified in attacking them. It's almost a good thing to get rid of your enemies, Laverne.
I have to laugh because that, any of you that are into music, there's that Kendrick Lamar and that beef between the two rappers. Kendrick Lamar did this song called "They're Not Like Us," and they've been beefing, and It's all over. If you watch TMZ and some of the pop culture things, they're
Well, I
talking about.
don't, but I appreciate you bringing it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
it's just funny. It's this
they're
big
not
beef.
like us.
They're not like us. That's the title of the song, and it's this big beef between these two rappers. They're not. They're going back and forth, and they're not like us. And the minister that did the lesson Sunday at our church, the title of the lesson was "They're Not Like Us," and
Mm.
and it went into all this specialness. So I just had to have a little laugh. And also that sentence, specialness is a lack. I just stopped right there, you know. It just to me just explains everything about the specialness, not to even have to go any further.
Yeah, it
But
comes
yeah,
from a
yeah.
lack or a perceived lack.
Mm-hmm. Receive lack.
Now, just so I'm clear, it's an important point. If you can relegate someone as being an other, then you can feel justified in attacking them, in killing them, in enslaving them, in hurting them, because they're not like you.
Not-
They're on a different level, aren't they? How am I doing here?
You're
And
doing
it proves that we were right and God was wrong, that we're not the same. And that's what we want. We want to keep
to be
our
right.
separateness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that in the second paragraph at the end, it talks about holding itself complete within itself, with every entry shut against intrusion and every window barred against the light. And so our light cannot come out, it cannot shine.
Uh,
And we
absolutely.
want it that way.
Yeah,
And who is it that wants it that way?
This
that
Not the
Ego.
Holy Spirit
No.
voice,
right,
Oh,
right.
the
the
ego.
crazy one.
Mhm.
It will use whatever justification it can come up with to be right, rather than ever admit it's wrong. The range of the ego, suspiciousness to viciousness. You
Mm.
cannot reason with this voice. This voice is crazy. Reason is not going to work. So the decision is, I'm going to have to let the crazy one go. I can't change its nature. It was born out of a tiny, mad idea that you could be separate, different, better,
But I
level.
can't let it go if I don't see that it's crazy, if I think that that is sanity.
So God's plan is steps. The first step, like in 12 steps, is to come out of denial and recognize what the problem is. It's not an ego that we can sit out on a table and examine it and look at its features and particulars objectively, because it's in me, it's operating, it's subjective, not objective. So it's very difficult for us to recognize something that we're so intimately involved with. and is not dead or static, but operating. It's the very lens through which we see the world. It's a tough job to get people to recognize that's a problem, isn't it?
And to
Oh, yeah.
recognize the problem is within me, not out there.
Yep. So, what's a savior to do?
Be
I'm going to
quiet.
have to work with you. You see things in linear progression. We'll unpeel the onion. Okay,
Yeah.
we're just going to keep unpeeling the onion until you go, I got it.
Right.
All right, now you got it. Let's
Mhm.
move to part 2, what to do about it. But I can't get to part 2 until you allow part 1. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too about specialness. I'm thinking about that always comes back to me, my defenselessness is my strength, that lesson. So, and we're talking about how we always want to be right, so we should not be arguing or having confrontations with people, because when we do that, we're trying to prove that we're special. We know better. I'm right. You're wrong. So I'm going to argue with you
Okay.
till
And look,
daylight.
look what a burden we put on our brothers and sisters by trying to have them live up to our, the good ones, the better ones, the smarter ones, expectations. So many of our brothers and sisters get so involved with this burden, this albatross that we've placed around them, that they don't get to be all they can be, unfettered, uninterfered with. We put obstacles around their lives by judging them and them taking those judgments to heart. It holds them back. And Lord knows it's holding us back because we're acting insanely. It's a lose-lose, is what I'm trying to get you to see.
True.
Look at me, brother, for at your hand I die. What a guilt trip to put on people. And then wonder why we don't have any friends. I'm sorry. Do this one last paragraph and I'm going to let you go tonight. We made it all the way up to Ron. Do you see where it has the unity
Yeah.
excerpt, Ron?
Yes. Unity writings has similar things to say about judgment. Judging from the plane of the personal leads into condemnation, and condemnation is always followed by the fixing of a penalty. We see faults in others and pass judgments upon them without considering motives or circumstances. Our judgment is often biased and prejudiced, yet we do not hesitate to think of some form of punishment to be meted out to the guilty one.
Okay. And that's that tale on judgment, is that it gives us some sort of innate right. It's okay to get rid of them. Okay. They're not legitimate. They're not genuine like me. Okay. So are we painting a clear picture of the problem of specialness? Now, there's more to be said, several more sections about specialness and various takes on it. But I think we'll stop here for tonight if that's okay with you. Did you have a good time?
Of course.
Yes.
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 Right, because if you didn't, we'd have to stick around for a few more minutes until you could see that you had a good time. Because that is, I am here only to be truly helpful, and I'm here to engage with you about an outstanding, remarkable story of where your happiness lies. So I work for Smiles, and I'm getting a few. I can't quite see Laverne's face. Oh, beautiful. All right, guys, we
I'm
can
like,
go now.
look up
And,
Drake. Drake is a rapper. Look up Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They're two rappers.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
And Kendrick Lamar's song is like, They're Not Like Us.
Yeah, all you have to do is, I did that already. I put that in and it pops right up on YouTube.
It pops right up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up too, Laverne. Thank you so much.
It's
And,
funny because it's ridiculous. They're just beefing and,
well, I'm sorry, what's the name? They're Not Like Us,
they're
right?
not like us.
Gotcha.
Why
Kendrick
you should
Lamar.
never wrap your credit card in tin foil. I've worked at a big corporation bank for 12 years.
All right,
You know,
who was that?
okay.
You?
I don't, it wasn't me.
All right. Well, stay as calm as you can, my friends. And I had a good time with you as
Yeah.
usual. Thank
Yes.
you for being
Thanks, everyone.
here. And
Thanks.
we will continue next time, okay?
All right. Have a good
Namaste.
one.
Thank you,
All
Jim.
right.
Good
All right.
Thank
night.
you, sir.
Have a blessed week.
You
All
too.
right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.